Hey friends, just want to show you the cigar that I'm smoking today. This is a San Cristobal De La Habana. This is my first real Cuban. I was able to get this from a friend of mine who has access to real Cubans in the country he lives in. And so thank him for that. I'm going to smoke this up and I'll let you know what I think. Sorry for the chicken camera. So first light up, I've had it lit for maybe about 3 minutes now. Good draw. It's not too tight. It is burning a little bit unevenly at the front. At the first couple of puffs. Hopefully that'll even itself out. I'm at the point now where I might touch it up a little bit. Yeah, I touch up my cigars too. No fault with that. Sometimes maybe there is a little bit of unevenness in this. But overall, decent smoke. I do have a V cut because that is my preferred cut. So far, good. A little bit of pepper, kind of lingering peppery tobacco-ness. Not really strong. This is maybe a mild to medium in my book, but so it tastes good. I'm enjoying it. Sorry if the audio is bad. I have my windows open. I'll have to check this when I'm editing, but so. We're not quite into giving my first third opinion. Just wanted to show you where I'm at right now. Probably going to touch it up real quick. I'm coming up to a stop sign, so I'm going to do that in just a second. I'm just going to touch it up. And a lot of people hate on that, but in reality, sometimes it's just it just is what it is. So oftentimes it comes down to the lighter. So it honestly could have been my issue. Well, let's touch this up here a little bit. So just a little bit. I had to go through because I was at a four-way stop sign and a car came up the other way. So, just a little bit. You don't have to do too much to it to get it going. So hopefully that'll even itself out now, and I'll get back to it. So just making some observations about this cigar real quick. So this sat in my humidor after I received it for probably about 2 to 3 weeks. Unfortunately, my Bovita pack, yes, that's what I choose to use in my humidor. Just a small desktop one, holds maybe 35 to 50 if I'm really putting them in there, depending on the size. My Bovita pack was dried out, so this might be a touch on the dry side. The construction of it is pretty decent, although I am seeing a few imperfections. There's some veininess in there that looks a little bit wonky. So it's not the most pleasing looking cigar I've ever had. By no means is it the worst. But it's not anything to overly behold. I think the camera's doing it some justice. It actually has a really nice golden brown color in there. Whereas when I'm looking at it in front of me, it's not as shiny as it maybe looks on camera. So this I would probably put this at like a sun-grown. It says Habana on it, so kind of like a Habano, maybe like a sun-grown type of shade. So it's not quite as light as a Connecticut, but it is certainly nowhere near a Maduro. And this is kind of what I like. And as you can see, yeah, it did even out pretty decent. It's still slightly uneven, but that is within the error point for me as far as like, oh, it's still fine, I'm not going to touch with it. So this is smoking pretty good. So this is kind of what my midpoint that I like to go to if I'm trying out a cigar brand, or if I'm just light cigars have a place for me, and dark cigars have a place for me as well. But if I'm just kind of going middle of the road most of the time as far as leaf type goes, or as far as maybe strength. And again, the color's not always going to mean the strength. You can have a really, really, really powerful Connecticut, and you can have a really mild Maduro. So this is going to be on the milder side, like I mentioned before. I said mild to medium. Now I'm kind of backing down off the medium. It is pretty mild. I am really enjoying it still, and so I'll check back in. I'm about halfway through the first third, so not enough to give any big notes off of it. The pepper's still there. That's really the biggest note that I'm getting. Not a ton of like maybe some earthiness. I'm not really getting any oakiness on it. I guess I am giving notes. But pepper, and earthy. This is nice. I like this a lot. So back at it. Okay, so I'm about done with the first third. Smoking pretty good still. It pretty evened itself out. There's just a touch bit, but not enough to complain about or talk about. And I'm gonna now back up to the mild to medium. There's some draws that come through a little bit hotter, and some that are real nice and smooth. I'm still enjoying it. There was a little period after I dropped my first bit of ash. Drop that ash. David and Karis to do a song called "Drop That Ash." After I did my first, when I freed up the first bit of loose ash, I've done so twice now, but the first time, it started drawing a little bit heavier, and so it actually there was almost something that kind of coated my mouth a little bit thicker than on the first couple of draws. And then it kind of evened out after that. So there was a little bit there where I was going, ooh, this might be taking a turn on me, and being a little bit thicker, a little bit, maybe not as pleasant as I was expecting. There's a little tingling on the sides of my mouth right now too from it. I'm not quite sure what that is. But again, first thirds, notes are kind of the same. There's kind of this very, very mild leathery taste, little bit of earthiness, not really any oak or woodiness. It really is kind of that pepper. It's not it's a toss up between like white and black pepper for me. So maybe it's just a very, very mild black pepper. But still really good. I'm still enjoying it. But it's not blowing my mind. This is not gonna be my favorite cigar. And I make my cigar choices as far as favorites oftentimes based off of sometimes availability. Like if it's something I can't get a lot, why am I going to rank it my favorite if I can't smoke it? Even if I had enough to make it a special occasion, probably not going to make it my favorite. So, but this won't rank up there overly high. I'm probably the first third. I'm going to give it probably about an 88 or an 89. And again, my ranking is extremely subjective and just my personal opinion. I do really enjoy it, and I would say if these were available to me, I probably would smoke them a lot because they are a nice mild to medium, easy smoke. So that's the first third, and I'll keep going at it. All right, so just about done with the second third, about to move into the last third. That note that I mentioned, kind of that coating when it happens when I tap the ash off. Tap That Ash would also be a good name for a song, David and Kara. It might just be when I'm releasing the ash. It might just be the first couple puffs after that, when it just gets a little more airflow in. But overall, still a really nice, decent smoke. I am thoroughly enjoying this. It's not something that I would pay a ton of money for. It's not something that I'm not going to put a dollar value on it, but I would put it as I'm not putting a dollar amount on it, but I would put it as kind of a mid-tier. I am going to maybe in my market in New York and keep that for what it's worth, because there's certain reasons why our tobacco is higher than others, and I can maybe talk about that some other time. But I would probably put this at a $12 to $15 cigar in my market, which in other markets would probably be about an $8 to $10 cigar. It's good. I thoroughly enjoy this. Nice mild to medium, still mild to medium, because it's mostly on the mild side, but then I'll get that kick once in a while that's more toward a medium. So I would honestly have no problem having a beginner smoke this cigar, but there's enough to it where somebody who's been doing it a while would find it interesting as well. So, all right, still kind of the same note. Honestly, I'm kind of getting a lot of nothing right now. As far as anything extra, it's not really developing into some big on it. Sometimes the flavors get more as the cigar decreases. I'm really not getting that. And honestly, I'm kind of getting used to the pepperiness now, so it's just kind of a really nice, smooth, maybe slight oaky earthiness. So good smoke, still enjoying it, and let's get into the final third. All right, guys, I'm about to finish up this cigar. I'm almost done with it. I'm gonna smoke it a little bit more. I'm actually parked out right outside my cigar lounge. I'm gonna go in, hang out with some friends, smoke a couple more. Then I get to a Bible study later. But I'm about done with this. I usually smoke my cigars until they burn my fingers. So I'm not a person that smokes to the band. This one was actually a very loose band, which is actually really nice. I could have taken it off, except for the fact that there's some cracking down here at the bottom that's actually affecting it from sliding off, and I don't want to affect my I don't want it to affect the cap or my ability to smoke it more. Although it is really nice, it's been really good the whole time. I was a little worried because when I touched it before I lit it, there was a little bit of crackling, just not a ton, but it was. I was a little concerned. I thought maybe I dried it out too much. And some cigar people might say that I did, but it smoked really good. It stayed pretty even after the touch-up. Again, you saw me do the touch-up. It literally was just a touch to that uneven part. You don't relight it like you normally do a relight where you know, it's a relight. This is just a touch-up, just a touch of flame. Typically gets that cigar back in line. And as you can see, this is pretty good as far as a touch-up goes. So, yeah, I don't know if I just maybe didn't have it enough, you know, on there the first time. I'm gonna go user error on that. Most of the time, a uneven cigar is user error. It's not oftentimes. Sometimes it can be a tighter draw. Sometimes that can affect it, which would be a manufacturing thing, but that's not a huge deal. You can oftentimes manipulate that through lighting technique. It's very rare that it's a defective cigar. Very rarely. But overall, pretty good construction. Very good flavor. It's very mild flavor. Just a touch of pepper at times, which bumps it to mild to medium to me. This was a very good, my first Cuban. I liked it, but it's not anything blown out of the water, not something that I would go searching for, because there's plenty of things that are available to me that are very similar to this, and that I have regular access to. So I'm gonna go in, hang out, and I'll chat with you guys later. So this has been San Cristobal de La Habana, my first real Cuban. Cheers.